We, the people, tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We, the people, are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode 58. And with my good buddy John Tracy. John, how you doing tonight, man?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am good. I am, of course, Matt Craig. Happy to be along for the ride, as always. And John, my goodness, if we look back at the city of Philadelphia to those that wore 58, it was amazing to see the amount of players that actually wore that number in the city of Philadelphia.
All of our favorite players, +1.
Well, -1 for me. But we'll get into that real quick. But on the Eagles side, a ton of players, real good ones too. Trent Cole comes to mind, right? I mean,
Love Trent Cole. Love Trent Cole.
Great dude, great dude. Another Andy Reid guy.
Yep.
Jordan Hicks, Super Bowl
Yep.
champion. You know, before he got injured, but Super Bowl champion, real good linebacker. And your boy, Ike.
Ike. How can you? Ike's synonymous with Philly. Like you can't even mess with Ike. He's not only a great special teams player and a great linebacker in the NFL. He just decided to be a great radio host because he just whatever he wants to do, he does. And I love Ike Reese. He's amazing.
So it makes me wonder, like real quick, who do you think is the best player of the three that wore that number? And
See, I gotta just go with Ike. I have to go
You
with
think
Ike
so?
because here's the one reason. The
Hmm.
one reason I gotta go with Ike. Not only was he a staple of my childhood with Eagle sports, but he totally, when he went to Atlanta, got Jeremiah Trotter kicked out of the game before the game because that's how much Ike knows. Ike knew
Exactly.
exactly what he was doing.
He knew exactly what's going on.
I love Ike for that.
That's awesome. That's
Hated him
great.
that day, but mad respect.
Too
Mad
funny.
respect.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would have. I think for me, it would have been Trent Cole. He's
Mhm.
just a great pass rusher off the edge. And,
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't go wrong with him or Hicks. You can't go wrong with.
Nah, he can't.
You
Go wrong.
can go wrong with Jonathan Papelbon, which I will stand on the
You
hill.
most certainly can't
I
go
will
wrong with
stand
Jonathan
on
and
the hill for the
Papelbon.
rest of my life. I
Yeah.
love Pat. Pat's an asshole, but I love Pat.
Yeah, he definitely played the heel
Oh, yeah.
100% of the time. Yeah.
Pat believes all the bullshit that Pat spews. None of us do. I just respect that kind of bullshit spewing. I love Pat.
Yeah, no, he was a waste of my time, and I think he came in at the wrong time frame because it was clearly the golden age had pretty much been done with the Phillies at that point, and he was always wanting to win, loser.
I think he did always want to win. It just
Yeah.
he just came off. We have many people in this segment. It's actually funny that we talk about Papelbon because we have many people in these segments
Yeah.
that come off wrong.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Kenny Omega comes off wrong, that kind of a deal. He's fighting for the AEW championship tonight as we're recording this on Saturday. Too funny, but we also have the final pitcher for the Phillies. We don't have any Flyers or Sixers that were 58, but
no.
the last pitcher that we saw of our era, Jeremy Hellickson, that great wiffle ball pitcher, Johnny. I mean, he had a wiffle ball arm, pretty much.
for whom who don't remember him, you're not alone.
No.
That's the only thing.
He
that I
pretty
can-
much was
Yeah.
he was the starting pitcher
I remember him.
in opening
Not-
day one
just
year.
Not fondly.
Ugh.
Like I remember him playing,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you don't remember him, trust me, nobody
this
at the
much,
bar is
yeah.
going to be like, you don't know anything about anything. 'Cause
Exactly.
it took Matt like a good 25 minutes to jog my memory about that dude.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. Well, John, why don't we just dive right in as we always do with Two Noobs? Topic one here. It was interesting. You wanted to bring this up. We talked
Yeah.
about this a few months ago. It's another one of our reviews of the Franklin and Marshall College poll review.
I'm interested in cashing receipts. So
And
we're gonna cash receipts now.
let's flash up this first question here on screen between the two of us here.
Yep.
Overall trends in Pennsylvania. People were polled. Are we heading in the right direction? Are we off on the wrong track? Or I don't know. And as you can see here, this is a very interesting trend as of October 2021. off on the wrong track,
Yeah.
57%.
Yeah.
Headed in the right direction, 30%. And as you can see, let's just say like about a year and 3 months ago, it was virtually the opposite.
Yeah.
48% headed in the right, 40% headed in the wrong. What are your thoughts on this, Johnny? Let's take a look at this real quick.
I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense the way the country's going, the inflation, all the things that the talking heads want to talk about. Like, there's a ton of stuff that people are worried about.
Yeah.
I more so like what I mean by cashing receipts is just I love to take a look back
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can, because that's where you learn from. Like, because maybe last time we looked at this, it was about a dead heat. It was going in that direction. Look how much, if you just look at that weird curve now,
Yeah.
it's now spanning even wider. So that's important to understand where we're at. Take a good measuring stick of where we're at.
Yeah, kind of good picture. Exactly. Yeah. And, it's concerning because you're right. The inflation is definitely going up. We're heading into the winter months. COVID still hasn't been fully resolved yet, because we have boobs that are currently running everything. They keep, trending, things, definitely going in different directions, which is interesting. But, I'm going to flash this second one up here on screen. And this one might be a little bit difficult to read in the fact that there are 10 categories here, but
Yes, but we will try to work through them as best we can for
as best we
everybody.
can. Yeah. So
The
this is
top two is what we wanted to highlight. So
yeah,
Matt,
exactly.
highlight them, and then we can kind of work with those others. We can explain them.
It sounds great. So we got the top problem facing Pennsylvania here, and the blue line, for those that are in the audio side, the top one is government politicians, sitting at a robust 20% as the top problem facing PA. When you and I first went over this about a few months ago, Johnny, it was at 30%. I don't know what attributes to that. The only thing I can go ahead.
Political downfall is what is it, not a major election. People are going to forget about it. It's normal how this is actually how politics work. This is how they sneak under the radar, the politicians, because they're not out talking to you all the time, so they're not top to mind.
Yeah.
When you look at when we were looking before, they're gearing up for elections.
Yep.
So they're definitely going to be in your ear a lot. So now this is their go away time. Trust me, when it turns the corner, like when we revisit this, maybe February, March of 2022, you're going to start to see that number rise a little bit, because anytime a politician pops their head out, people don't like them. It's normal.
Yeah, pretty much. The second one that's in the list, and it's again difficult to read through the graph, but if you can see in that orange line there, unemployment now is second at 10.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
And the gray line there is COVID. And as you can see at the beginning part, it was the biggest problem facing the state, hovering around the 30% low, the lowest at that point, like around the
that
fall
was right
2020.
before the Delta variant.
Delta variant. Well, actually, the Delta variant didn't come in until after the vaccines came out. So start to think about this time-wise. March of 2021, it's the top problem facing the state. Then April and May, you see that, and all the way down to June, you see a humongous fall.
Oh, yeah.
Really from like 31% down to about 7%. It was the fourth major problem facing the state. From the first all the way down to the fourth. Then it bumps back up again. That's the Delta variant you were talking about. Exactly, Johnny. Bumps it back up to about 17%. So it's like the second most problem. Now it's tied for third. So it's like right around the time now.
Yeah, it's right. It's actually probably tied for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth if you really look at that graph, because it's diving. It's not going to. It's either going to make graphs will either make this move, or they're going to continue making that move. So it could be in 3 months. It could even dive. You got the booster shots out. You got people. You got more people. More cognizant about the media. They're not trusting the media as much. So people are living their lives. So you're seeing COVID kind of fall along the norm, which is normal. It is a virus, so there is health concerns.
Oh, sure.
This isn't a shot of, hey, if you've got like underlying health concerns, don't take this lightly.
Yeah, and I would think also too, when you really stop to think about this, November of last year. You remember, of course, you're heading into Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, don't Don't do Thanksgiving. I remember
Yeah.
going to Thanksgiving dinner, getting texted by the state saying, "Well, you want to make sure that you're safe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
6 feet apart."
we were both talking about that in November. We were worried about that because it was the perception of everything. I think I honestly think everybody's having Thanksgiving.
Oh, I know.
I
Yeah.
don't think that anybody. I don't think that the masks are a thing anymore. I mean, you will have your part of culture, and
Mhm.
we've talked about this a million times with the Japanese culture, with the
Yep.
with the wearing the masks for the environment.
Mhm.
There, Japan had said when that happened that there was at least going to be 20% of the population that were never going to let go of that.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. Like, oh, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
To be honest, my greatest advice for that is just be respectful for people that are wearing a mask,
No
because
question at all.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not affecting you any.
I totally agree with you. I
If
think
we
it's
could
like
get away from that mask shaming or not mask shaming, we do far better.
I would totally agree with you, Johnny, on that because I think that's because again, it's a part of the culture now that can divide people. If you really stop to think about it, and
They're good
can
at it.
say, "Hey, if you don't have a mask, you're not allowed in." If and that kind of stuff. We need to kind of drop that. I think overall,
Yeah.
really. Whether it's like if you want to wear the mask, the idea is you can wear it. It's not a problem.
Mhm.
But the idea that if you're unvaccinated or vaccinated, you can wear a mask or not. That's the problem that we're running into, where it's like the conflation of like, well, if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear the mask, and if you aren't
See,
vaccinated,
that's
you
what we got
must
to get.
wear.
That's
And
what we got to get rid of. But
we
you're
have to
also
get rid of that.
seeing what you're
Yeah.
seeing in that COVID number is people don't care about COVID at this point.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
going to see those things kind of fall away a little bit.
Yeah. And if anything, the idea of I keep thinking about it. The idea of throwing the kitchen sink at this thing is the
Yeah.
best, really the best approach because now, compared to last year, no vaccines, no therapeutic drugs. Now vaccines, now therapeutic drugs, now monoclonal antibodies are involved.
We have everything that we need and not. I'm going to say it because it's controversial, but I'm going to say it
Hmm.
in a way that should make sense to everybody.
Yep.
It's not saying that it's any worse or less, but we can put it in the same category as the flu now and deal with it appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've been saying for the last year and a half.
Oh yeah.
It's about getting it to a point where it's beatable, and then it's not
or
a killer.
manageable. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
not
do
a killer. The
Yeah.
media wants to tell you it's a killer because
Yeah.
they're still forcing a quota, but it's not. It's not a killer at this point. It's
If
a
it
pup.
were a killer, football games wouldn't be happening.
Yes.
If it were a significant killer, baseball wouldn't have had its regular season and playoffs.
Let's Go Brandon Chance would not be popular right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, all these things that are coming into the fray now, it's important to kind of you do your own cost benefit analysis. You do your own risk analysis. Okay, what am I going into? What do I need to make sure that I am protected and healthy? And what am I doing after the event? Am I washing my hands? Am I taking a shower? Am I doing whatever the case may be? Am I keeping myself healthy throughout all of this? That kind of a deal. That kind of deal. That's really what we're, I think, talking about at the end of the day. Man,
I went to take the kid for a haircut last weekend.
Yep.
And I didn't read on the website or I didn't know if masks were a thing. Grabbed them just in case, because everybody needs a haircut. Mm-hmm. Went in there was one person wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And they weren't worried about us.
Yeah.
They were wearing a mask for them. They weren't worried about it wasn't a lady that was literally sitting there being like,
you're not wearing
"You're all evil." That wasn't the way it is. She was talking to us.
Yeah.
Just fine. You know what I mean? Like it was a good interaction. It was cool. But one out of the 20 people, nobody was. But one of the rules of the place that is if you have any symptoms of a cold, flu, or COVID, please stay home.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine to ask. And I think if we did more of that, it would be less of the BS.
And that's the thing that I think we need to, going forward, to ultimately help to alleviate the risk of catching a common cold or catching a fever or a flu is that if you do not feel well, you do not have to go in. The pressure to go in.
Normalizing being sick is something that needs to happen.
Exactly. There shouldn't be such a pressure to go into an office building or to go into any sort of business type environment where if you don't feel well, you know what I mean, John? It's like there shouldn't be a pressure for you to go in, really. If you don't feel well, if you feel like you've got a fever, all of a sudden, it's like go home. It's okay to go home. Don't.
Well, let's go completely off the rails, because why not? Because we can do this, because this is what we do.
Yep.
Let's go off the rails a little bit. Let's normalize it real quick.
Yeah.
So if you wake up on a Monday or a Tuesday and you have to go to work, let's say you have to be at work at 8 and you wake up at 6, right? You jump in your shower, or you do your morning routine, right? And you're feeling under the weather. We need to normalize calling out and saying, hey, I'm not feeling well.
Yeah.
The reason we need to normalize that is not just for the benefit of the said person.
Yeah.
It's for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Don't be so selfish. Because
here's the thing. How many times are you actually not feeling well per year?
Yeah.
5, 6 times?
Maybe.
That's not loss of production.
No.
But what you do is when you get sick, when you don't do things like that, 20, 30 times, because you're burnt out. Your body's not going to recover. I'm a workaholic. Yeah. I'm a recovering workaholic. I say that all the time. I used to work until I was literally sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah, see? That's what we're talking about too.
Instead of taking time now, just be like, I took a day off Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I felt like crap. And I was like, you know what?
I need the time.
I just need a minute.
Yeah.
And it was a bad minute. It was a terrible day. But I'm glad I had that day, because I feel a lot better today than I think I would have.
Whereas before, if you go in during a day like that, you're pushing your body more and you're thinking, what the heck am I doing? You feel worse coming out of it at the end.
And to be honest with you, I woke up not feeling so well today. But I feel better because I took that extra day.
Yeah. It's amazing to me, Johnny, because it's like I think about it. I can remember, like, just even the early part of this week, I sneeze a lot when I get out of bed for some reason. I just do. I've been allergic to the world for my entire life, really, ever since I came out of the womb, basically.
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
All over the place. But I ended up getting an air purifier, and then on top of that, it was like once that purchase was made, I got it. Before then, vitamin D3, and an orange or a couple of clementines, and all of a sudden the sneezing stopped. And I thought to myself, mental note, there you go. I get the D3, the immune system kicks in, I get the vitamin C, immune system further strengthened, and now it's like I got the air purifier back here, and it's amazing how that works, because it's literally like it kicks on at max levels whenever there's cooking involved.
Yeah.
You stop to think about that, bacteria being burned off, all of a sudden all that.
That's all.
So now that's being dissipated. So you got all of these things. That's what I mean by a cost benefit or a risk analysis. You take a look at everything across the board and think like, okay, what can I do to take the necessary steps to get healthy? And once you start to do that,
what my wife came up with for all of us who have the sniffles and the allergies and the chest congestion is she's been using the peppermint oil all throughout the house, which is causing it all to come up. Now we're all nasally. Before we were all chest congestion. Now we're nasally because it's working its way out. It's going to take all sicknesses take sip. This is the funny part about COVID, where I laugh, and I don't mean to laugh at people for COVID, but I laugh about their instructions to COVID is, oh, if you have COVID, stay away for 10 days. They used to say 14, but now they say 10.
Now it's 10.
Common cold is 7.
Yeah, so what's the difference? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like yes, we should be with 14 days. I actually think that should be for everything.
Yeah. Because
you don't need to spew your nonsense around, Like trust me, like me having nasally right now, my microphone
Mhm.
for the next time I use it will be wiped down completely, made sure it's taken care of. Screens, everything gets handled. Like we're OCD as hell in this house.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
we also understand that it takes time.
Time.
Not you
Exactly.
don't freak out about it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, you're not anal
that's the
retentive,
key thing
but
that I learned from COVID.
that's the thing. Exactly. You take, and again, this is kind of what I have been mentioning before. You take that risk assessment. You realize, okay, what can I do to mitigate it and lower it? That kind of thing. That's why I love risk management. When I was studying in Temple.
Oh,
So
100%.
yeah,
100%.
love that. So let's move on real
Yes,
quick.
please.
Topic two.
We've got more
And this is a very interesting. This is a very interesting discussion you and I had, Johnny,
Yeah.
pre-production. New York Post article here. We flash it up on screen.
Mhm.
Social media in a tizzy after White House briefing discusses racism built into roads, and we both kind of went, "Huh?" But
I think what fired me off was Ted Cruz's idiotic comments,
yeah, of course, yeah,
and that's why that's I'll explain later. But yeah, like Ted Cruz being an idiot
yeah,
set me off to a point where me and Matt got into a real deep conversation. We will take you through that conversation.
no question.
Um,
So, okay, so what are we talking about here? So, really, it was Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
who, by the
Basically,
way, hasn't worked in a while because he's on paternity leave
yeah, well, he's also got supply chain issues there too that he's trying to work his way through.
while he's on paternity leave.
Yeah, that's another story for another time. His pull quote, though, this is very interesting. Quote, I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purposes of dividing a white and black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or that would have been in New York, was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices, end quote. So that's his pull quote, which is very interesting. You and I had a quick discussion about this, Johnny.
I'm not against his quote.
I think it was poorly delivered, though.
I'm against his delivery.
Yeah.
His quote's fine. Like okay. If you allow me to to go off on a tangent here for a minute,
It's your podcast. Go for it.
I could see it's our podcast. I could literally, I could formulate an argument
Mm-hmm.
that this entire world is racist
Okay.
from time frame to time frame to time frame.
Yeah.
Totally could do it. It's pretty easy to do.
And I guarantee you would have one option and I would have another option.
Exactly.
To
Exactly.
both reach that same conclusion. Yep.
My problem with his quote
Mm-hmm.
is that it lacks any kind of understanding or explanation of why he's saying it.
Exactly.
Like everybody should know that the roads are racist. What I think he's saying is that the underpass thing is very, I mean, just look at the city of Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
They absolutely, back in the day, when the city they absolutely divided neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do it racially or did they do it economically? That's my question to where we need to go on to the next thing. We don't know because we weren't there.
Exactly.
We can assume all day.
Yeah. Well, you made the great point, too, with the underpasses. And you stop to think about that. You would have sidewalks that would walk, obviously, underneath these bridges that were made.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the bridge, the sidewalks would stop.
Yeah.
So you literally had to get onto a very busy road in order to continue to walk into that next neighborhood. And you made the point of I-95 specifically in that regard.
Well,
and it's something that never really struck me because I was like, I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia, obviously in Orland and Fort Washington area. There were no sidewalks anywhere where I was, but there were certain areas in the locations where there were. So why was that? I don't know the answer to that question. All I do know is I didn't have any sidewalks. Other places did. Yes. Who knows why that's the case?
But I would rather the transportation secretary, if he was going to make a point, he would start with what I just said. Yeah. If what is it? Is it racism or is it economic? Or are they both the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
This is my problem with this administration and the last administration and the last administration and the last administration. I can keep going. We'll go back to Clinton. Like we can. My point is, when you're making a point, stop making it so bleeping vague that it becomes a poll quote, and you get idiots like Ted Cruz, who I think is a very smart man, but he's an idiot at times, because all he wants to do is play the Republican point because he's got to run for president in 2 years. He's going to be like, ha, the Biden administration said it was, and then you create Republicans and them. You're creating more division by stupid shit.
Yeah. To your point,
I challenge Cruz to have this conversation with me because he thinks he's smart, but I don't think he's as smart as he thinks he is.
Right. To your point, I'm just going to read his tweet because it's in response to this. Quote, "The roads are racist. We must get rid of roads." That's not what Buttigieg is saying.
No.
"You see, we Hispanics are very, very tall, and we need rich, woke Dems to raise the bridges for us." End quote. Quote, "Without Pete's condescending help, there's no way we could get to the beach." End quote. Now, okay.
Okay, no, I got two things for you. Let me go nuts. I got two things. Okay. A, he called him Pete, which means he knows him.
Yeah.
So now you're just being a puppet.
Yeah.
You're being a Republican puppet. You need to sit down. Because you called him Pete.
Yeah.
He is not known as Pete.
Yeah.
And we're all not running around and be like, Pete, the transportation guy.
Yeah.
That's a one shining fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's trying to pull the wool over American people's eyes.
You can see both sides. Yeah.
He uses his heritage as a boiling point to be mad. So he literally we don't need to know what ethnicity I am or what ethnicity when we're arguing an argument.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bullshit from just that tweet.
And the biggest thing for me too is like, why don't we just solve this problem? Like, when are we going to like sit down and actually think like, okay, wait a minute, what can we do?
Well, we won't, because they just passed an infrastructure bill that had nothing to do with infrastructure.
Oh,
now,
really?
if you would have passed a $300 billion infrastructure bill, like they can't because they're too stupid to do it.
Yeah.
We could totally Texas is literally doing it now. Not the racist roast thing, but they are literally town by town, highway by highway. They are constructing a better tomorrow. They are putting their money into the right things.
Yeah.
Widening the roads for the heavy hauling, widening the roads so more cars can fit on there, making better overpasses so you can walk around.
Yeah.
They're making
and then on top of that,
making it better.
On top of that, really, it's like you drive the PA Turnpike up here, Johnny. There are certain sections. It's like, oh my gosh, when are you absolutely going to repave this road?
With all the money that they cost. That's my question. With all the money that they steal from everybody.
Well, not only
drive on that road, they
can't collect those fees on the tolls anymore, Johnny, because people are just like, all it is an easy pass road. Well, guess what? If you don't have an easy pass transponder, I'll just hit it right on there, and maybe my car will go through and get photographed on the way out, or maybe it won't.
Yeah.
And they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars over the years because they keep having these issues where the photograph doesn't get fully processed and all those things. So there are a lot of issues on these roads, a lot of them. And it just comes down to, bottom line is really, we have to take the racism card off of here.
Yes.
I understand where Buttigieg is coming from.
Yes.
And
you can fix it. You can easily fix it.
Yeah. I get it. Like, we all get that racism is bad. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's all over. I understand the systematic.
It's going to continue, unfortunately.
I understand the systematic racism thing, but the thing is, why not just correct it for everybody?
Yeah.
And just
instead focus on the problem and solve it.
That's my whole point between Buttigieg and Cruz. That's why I call them both out. Instead of being idiots about it, why not just
solve
fix
the
it?
problem like you're supposed to do? Yeah.
We could easily fix it.
Come together, think about what you need to get done, and get it done. don't fire off tweets back and forth to each other or make some really, like, Buttigieg's comment was just so out of left field, no pun
It's
intended.
almost like he thought we all thought that way.
Exactly, and we don't. We want people to solve problems. We don't want additional problems being on top of it. We just want you to solve the problem that's in front of us. You know, that kind
And
of
that's what a transportation director should probably do.
you would think. Yeah.
I mean, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know who Trump's was or Obama's was or Clinton's was or Bush's was. I don't ever remember a transportation director having this kind of clout.
The only thing that I can remember years ago was Obama made it a huge point in his first term of like repaving all the roads. You remember that? I remember specifically on 422 heading up into work, we'd see signs like "Build America Great Again" or something along those lines. I forget what the name of that phrase was, but they put up highway signs and they repaved 422, and they all congratulated themselves. And within about within about 5 to 6 years, potholes were all over the place, and that because we had a bad
That's
winter.
what
No
happens with
surprise up
infrastructure.
here.
Yeah, it's a construction is a constant thing. That's
It's a
the only
constant
thing.
thing. Don't glad hand yourself and say you did a great job. Just
We fixed all the stuff we neglected for 10 years.
yeah, exactly.
That goes for both parties too.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, let's just end it right there.
Let's just end it right there.
Both parties.
But this one, Johnny, this is a kind of a follow-up to what we did last episode
Yes.
57. But topic 3 here, Aaron Rodgers. You know, and it's a Hill article here. Aaron Rodgers says he's in the crosshairs of the woke mob. That seems to be the problem now. You know, you're in the woke mob, you get
It seems
crosshaired.
like when you don't have another thought, you just blame the woke mob. It doesn't really seem like they're. And here, I'll just give the woke mob. You guys, I'll give you guys a pass real quick, okay? You don't really seem like you're causing that much trouble at this point. Were you before? Absolutely. Not now.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really causing much trouble, so
You're kind of dialing back just a little bit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see the woke mob as like number one.
Yeah. Well, I think they took a little bit of a pounding in Virginia and New Jersey. More than that.
But my whole thing with that is, I told Mac that I wanted to talk about this a little because I want to just like Aaron Rodgers is lame in every way. I feel Aaron Rodgers' COVID vaccine thing is just like watching him play. Like I just get an extra pillow and I just kind of like he's not a spokesman. He should definitely not be an activist. I mean, he lied to the NFL. The NFL should probably do something about that. But also, he probably should have lied to the NFL because the NFL sucks.
Well, and
in the same thing, I agree with him and I disagree with him at the exact same time.
Let's face it, really, at the beginning part of all of this, heading into this regular season, the guy was an absolute douchebag off-season wise.
Always has been. Always will.
Yeah, and he's always been that way. And so, really, you're coming off of this. NFL has these protocols in place for, you got to get vaccinated, all that kind of stuff. Well, Aaron researches the ingredients in either the Pfizer, the Moderna, the J&J.
Yeah.
Finds out he's allergic to all three. So, what are you going to do? He's allergic. Florio kept making, Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, which thank God we're not playing the video because I would have flipped out, makes a really couple of asinine comments saying like, well, he should have taken the shot. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, he's allergic. He can't. What do you want him to do? You want him to suffer for the rest of his life? Taking the shot?
My thing with that is if you're allergic, stand up.
Say it.
Just say it. Why not make that your that's my biggest problem with Aaron Rodgers.
But instead he says
why not die on that sword? Instead you're gonna die on the sword that everybody else dies on and just be like, oh, being attacked by the woke mob.
I guarantee you, John, what you just said should be said throughout all of this entire thing because you have all of these mandates coming out and everybody's got to take the shot. And I'm thinking, what if you're allergic?
Yeah.
What if you've got a medical condition? What if you have a religious exemption? What if you got all kinds of different things?
There's medical exemptions. There's religious exemptions. There's a ton of stuff that people can invoke because the Constitution is real.
Absolutely. And
so really, the problem is I understand where he's talking about the woke mob because I've heard this from a lot of people I know that are very leftist. Oh, we'll just hide behind that. You don't hide behind the Constitution. The Constitution is supposed to, it's a living document.
And it guarantees your rights.
It guarantees you freedoms.
Yeah.
So there is no hiding behind it.
Let's face it, I would not want to be a slave to any administrative state, whether it's Republican or Democrat.
No thanks. Yeah, no thanks. No, I'm not interested in any of your parties.
That's what I don't understand about the left. The left doesn't like the fact that the government is put under control for a reason under the Constitution.
Yeah.
It's because if you look back through history, governments have been tyrannical.
Tyrannical, absolutely. But the problem with the Republicans on the other side is they want the people to have so much power that there is no checks and balances.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the administrative state more than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. That's where you get the right and left. When you get into the center, everybody wants some sort of government to govern something, but we want you to govern the shit that we don't want to deal with.
Right. We want you to protect us from all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do as a government.
Yeah. And we will
enforce the laws of the country. Yeah.
We will flourish the economy. We will make this stuff. Like, we don't want the government involved in what we're doing, and we don't want to get involved with the government is doing.
Stay in your lane.
But that's also where you, on the flip side, that's also where you get into tyranny on other sides.
No question.
Because foreign leaders will come in and be like, well, why are you letting them run this when you could run it all?
Yeah.
You don't think Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Obama has had conversations with dictators that are like, yo, you could totally be rich and they could all be poor? You don't think they tried to sell that?
Yeah.
You're naive if you didn't. Because they totally all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, with Rodgers, it's like, I feel for him because, again, he's allergic to these vaccines.
But don't take it.
But to your point, say that initially. There's nothing wrong with saying that because then the onus is on the media to own that and to say, okay, he's allergic. He can't take it. What can he do then? Then the question goes to the NFL. Then the question goes to the National Football League. If you're forcing all these people to take vaccines and you have a small percentage, 5%, that find out that they're allergic, what are they supposed to do? And that's where the NFL and the Players Union have to kind of come together and figure out what they have to do.
They didn't even come together on how to spend money. This is the problem. I think the biggest problem with Aaron Rodgers or any Nick Chubb just came down with COVID's out.
I know, seriously, it's killing me on my face.
And he's vaccinated. So you're seeing it on both sides of the sides. You're seeing it on both sides of the table. The NFL, the NBA, the Major League Baseball, nobody's ready for this.
Yeah.
So
it's not testing. Really, that's such a great point what you just said with Chubb, John, because he literally has to take 2 tests 48 hours apart. Both of them have to be negative in order for him to play.
Why can't Aaron do that? I don't understand. Why is there? That's my only question in the whole thing. Why, if Chubb has to go through that protocol, why can't that be protocol for everybody?
Yeah.
Because it seems like
vaccinated or not,
it seems like a negative test is a negative test and a positive test is a positive test. So why aren't we just working with those two? This is what I said. Nobody's prepared for it. So you're gonna get ridiculous bullshit.
Yeah. Speaks to the craziness of the National Football League and really the boob. Well, we've gone over that last episode, but exactly.
Roger Goodell's a racist. There we go. I said it 2 episodes in a row. I'll continue that trend, just like Spotify.
Get that trend line going.
Yep.
Johnny.
Yes.
Fourth topic. We're on a roll here.
Are we?
Really, this is very interesting. This is a rare ESPN article, which is really amazing. It's stuff to think about.
I'm interested about this.
But this is really interesting.
Bring up my stats while you're delivering this.
Atlanta won, of course, the World Series, the Braves. Second title, really kind of came out of nowhere, I guess you could say. I mean, they suffered with Ronald Acuna getting hurt, out for the rest of the year, so they're kind of like meandering a little bit, but they make a couple of trades. Jorge Soler, Jock Peterson. They had to train their farm system in order to get these players. but they get on a run, and we'll flash up the standings here on screen. As you can see, they're kind of meandering around Memorial Day when Acuna got hurt. They're not doing all that well when it comes to the All-Star break, but they hit their stride. They make the trades at the July 30th deadline. All of a sudden, they get hot. They win the division. They beat the Brewers. They beat the Dodgers, who won over 100 games. They beat the Astros, who couldn't, which, side note, if you're Houston, I mean, my God, you have to cheat in order to win the World Series? You can't win any other time? Just terrible. But here they are. They win the World Series. And Scott Boras makes this interesting comment, quote, with all of the trades that they made, this is the Easter Bunny delivering rotten eggs, Boras said. Every team says, I need to do this because it's my only option, knowing I can't reach a divisional crest, I can't get into the playoffs. Essentially, what he's saying is the teams that are pretty much out of it become essentially sellers.
Yes.
And the teams that are in it become buyers. And the teams that are buying are those that are always in it to win the championship. He says that basically out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball, about half the league are really contending for the title. What are your thoughts on that, Johnny? This is a fascinating article.
I do not disagree with him at all. Like I again, like we said, like this is the theme of the whole thing. Very poor delivery. That quote was terrible. Like, have someone, Scott, have someone write that for you. That is not a free trainer. Like,
yeah.
He's literally trying to say that the Braves cheated by using the system.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's trying to say that. I totally disagree with him. But the numbers back him up. Not cheating, but the numbers back him up in exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
So like is on the screen. We have 25 and 26. So they are below 500 at Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're a Phillies fan,
you'll love that because Acuna gets hurt right around, like, I think it was the second month of the season. Yeah, huge.
Exactly. So now, by the way, at the trade deadline, the Phillies were hot. And they are right behind at 51 and 54.
Yep.
The Braves are right behind them. And the Phillies went from below them to above them during that time with no trades.
Yeah.
And Atlanta at the trade deadline was keeping pace. They're not cheating. They're keeping pace with the eventual three.
Yeah.
The Mets were playing out of their mind, but that doesn't even, like, they just suck. So
the Mets tanked at that point. Yeah. They were pretty much, they couldn't hit.
The point is they end up 88 and 73. They end up 6.5 games above the Phillies, who were playing out of their mind at that time. So I kind of understand. I think he also, isn't he Harper's agent?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So Harper, he's all those guys' agent. Yeah. He's all the big time guy agent. He's probably Freddie Freeman's agent.
Yeah.
Probably not. Freddie Freeman seems like a decent human being.
Oh, my gosh, I'd sign him immediately. Yeah.
I love Freddie Freeman. But that's what he's going on. He's going on. He's like reverse Billy beating it is what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating because he's also been responsible for a lot of the big contracts, for a lot of the big-time Major League Baseball stars. I mean, obviously, with Bryce Harper, and I think he probably does. I will have to look this up if he does represent Freeman.
No idea. I know he owns a ton of people.
But he's also inflating the salaries, I think, too, for a lot of the players and, a lot of the top stars. And so the idea then is there's no salary cap in baseball. There's no salary cap at all. And he also floated the idea of a minimum salary cap, like a minimum cap.
But see, that this is the thing. Okay. So this is Fauci 101.
Yeah.
He caused the bleeping problem. And now he's selling you the solution.
Yeah.
That's literally what's got.
Raise it up to $100 million.
If I can get it up here, I can sell you the solution to fix it.
You think about that.
It's Fauci-esque is what he's doing.
You think about like with the ball. Yeah, you also think about it with the Baltimore Orioles, right? The Orioles have been outside of like maybe 15, 16 where they made a run and then kind of ran into the Royals. The Royals just like all of a sudden they just blitzed them in like the American League Championship Series. They haven't been back since. They've lost like almost 100 games almost every year since. And what they're doing is they're trying to restock their farm system, trying to get everything back up.
They call it lightning in a bottle. The same thing with the Phillies. When you catch lightning in a bottle, it's just not.
But
you don't have the management don't have the management of the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Tampa Bay.
But Tampa Bay's got nobody, Johnny. That's
but they will retool. It's always that management that like this is why Houston even though they cheated, Houston can come right back because they have the management that understands that players win games. But what Boras is trying to do is take all that away. He doesn't want MLB to think for themselves. What he wants is a hard cap. So you can't. He's doing what Bettman did to destroy hockey is exactly what Boras is promoting. Same thing with the MLB. After David Stern, it went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
But Boras is doing exactly what we've seen in every sports league. Is you've got weak people like Manfred. You hate Manfred.
Oh yeah.
He wants to be the next commissioner because he wants to change it his way.
Yeah.
It's not going to go that way. The Braves won because the Braves won.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it.
They're probably going to suck in 5 years.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think they went all in. No question about it. They went all in to win the championship.
Which is, I'm big on Middleton and whoever the general manager of the Phillies is. I can't even remember his name at this point.
Dombrowski now. Dave Dombrowski. Yeah.
But they don't matter. They get fired every 6 months there. No, yeah. It's what's his name? It's the owner's field.
Yeah, Middleton. Yeah, John Middleton.
Yeah, Middleton is the one running the ship there.
Yeah.
He's not doing that.
Yeah.
But he could have easily. He had Kutch. He had Didi Gregorius not batting well. He could have sold those guys with prospects and made a run. I kind of like that he did it.
Yeah, I think the problem, though, with the Phillies, Johnny, is that they really don't have much in the cupboard in terms of their minor league right now that they can stock up and say, hey, we've got here's this, here's that, where we could trade these prospects away to get this established player.
Because they already brought them up.
Yeah.
They're already up.
What made the Phillies great was that they were able to draft very well and then develop their players well. Rollins, Utley, Howard, all those guys came through the system together, and they all came together, and it was a beautiful time, obviously.
Well, that was all Ed Wade, right? And then Gillick turned it into a championship team.
Yeah, Gillick kind of pushed them over the top, with a championship, yeah. And then Amaro just spent the kitchen sink, and that didn't really work out.
But Ed Wade's the one Ed Wade did two things. He made the Phillies relevant, and then he made the Astros relevant. Maybe just Ed Wade.
My question to you is, and let's just think about this.
I'm all for Ed Wade to be commissioner. I'm just going to run on that right now.
How would you fix baseball? Let's think about this. How would you
fix?
Wade
the commissioner. I just said that.
What's that?
Make Ed Wade the commissioner. Because it seems to be smart at what he does.
Right? I mean, they do have small markets.
What I would do is I wouldn't have a salary cap.
They have a luxury tax. Which
yes, they do have a luxury tax.
Salary they got to pay
every year. I think it's like $177,000 a year or something.
$77 million. Yeah.
Million. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Million. Like they pay the Yankees pay like a ridiculous amount of money to have the people that they have.
Yeah.
The luxury tax works. It works in basketball, but do you want entertainment or do you want mediocrity? Because that's the question. Because you could do a salary cap like the NFL has, and football's boring.
Yeah. And watered down.
So that's the biggest luxury tax to salary cap. That's the biggest argument you can start. I don't have an answer for it. I much enjoy basketball more than I do football and baseball.
Mm-hmm. Because you have some established teams that are going to go to
because you can in basketball with a luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
You can sign players that aren't ready, but they could create problems in games. You don't have that in baseball because you don't have baseball is not a thing where you're going to pull some off the bench that might be a young kid.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like you have it in football, it's just a different sport. Like you don't have that one spark that you can pull.
It's really amazing because if you think about it, it's individual skill in a team environment and you have to time it just right in baseball in order to make it work.
So maybe that's a salary cap. to even it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But would that? Well, I don't know. I would see. I would not give a salary cap to the NFL. I would raise the rosters. I would. I would fold
Oh, I think
every
so.
football league throughout the country. Like there should be no pro football other than the NFL, and the roster should be like 120 people per, because then you wouldn't have injuries.
Yeah, I think the 53-man roster that needs to go to like 60 to 65. Honest to
I'm
God,
saying 125.
you're
You
going
should have
to
an
more than double.
entire team
Yeah,
on top of your entire team.
yeah.
You have billions of dollars. Why aren't you doing that?
The only problem, the
it
only
doesn't make
issue
any
with that
sense.
is you've got the only issue you would have with that is you're talking about like reps in practice, all that kind of stuff. You got 120 people in the building. That's a lot.
But they do it. They do it during spring training. I have no idea why you couldn't do it all year long.
Yeah.
But what it's to do is to foster the Canadian Football League, the Indoor Football League. It's to rub their buddies.
Yeah,
But if they wanted to do it right, don't have those things.
yeah.
Or at least partner with those things.
Yeah.
Where you could pull someone the NFL. This is where the NHL is genius.
Yeah.
You have like 12 partner leagues. You can pull someone out of the closet.
It really is amazing with that entire with the NHL because you're right. You've got not only the minor leagues, but you've got like the major junior hockey leagues. You've got guys that are playing like at 18, 19, and it's a beautiful progression.
You can
when
loan
they go into the minors, then they go into the NHL, and it's like they're established talent at that point.
Well, the thing is, you have loans, and you have loans with repay. The NHL is very much like the business world.
Yeah, and that's where you have like right over my shoulder here. Any team in that league can win it. Any team can win it, and that's what makes it such an exciting. When you get into the Stanley Cup playoffs, you don't know who the heck's going to win it. You really don't. It's all about matchups at that point, really.
They tried that trade thing in the early 90s. It didn't work out well. They don't do it anymore now.
No.
It's not. It used to be the ESPN pop. Like you would right at the trade deadline, ESPN, you'd be right on it. That's what I think all leagues try that out. Hopefully, I can't fix sports because sports is boring. But at this point, it's really boring. But if the NFL and Major League Baseball could act more like the NBA and hockey, they'd probably be better watchable. Just widening your stance and learning from your failures, because the NFL does not do that very well. No. Or the NBA or Major League Baseball. And I think that's where Scott Boras is coming in. But I'm just calling him out 100%.
Yeah.
He's trying to be commissioner.
Yeah.
And you can tell it.
You can definitely see
first statement to be commissioner.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm counteracting that with Ed Wade for commissioner.
Exactly.
Ed Wade should be commissioner.
Ed Wade should be commissioner. End of story. Johnny, let's go to our happy. Yes. And you and I love this guy.
Yes. Yes.
And
another one of mine.
Both grew up 6ABC Action News fans.
Yep.
It was just recently announced Jim Gardner.
Yes.
Longtime anchor of the 6ABC, I think, Action News team.
Yes.
6 o'clock, and I think he also did 11. He's retiring at the end of 2022.
Yes. Good for him.
I mean, living legend, right? At the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, over
Mario Lemieux of Philadelphia. He's literally the Gretzky, the Mario Lemieux, the Ovechkin, however you want to say it.
Johnny, 44 years. He's been
top guy.
Long. When I was one, that was his first year starting at 6 ABC. Let's talk about him real quick. What he's meant to the city. His delivery.
The delivery is unparalleled. You can't find. Can't. I'll give him the greatest compliment ever. He's the Merrill Reese of the evening news.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You know what I mean? Like the voice, the delivery, the care.
Yeah.
Like when he told you a very bad story, it stuck with him. He wasn't fake.
Yeah.
Ever once. Like real recognizes real, and that's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
Real recognizes real.
Yeah. He did such a great job. Really, that was like it was must-watch viewing for us and the family. We were so glued.
I agree.
That.
His toss to a reporter, just oh man, I study that. I love it. I love it.
Get tossed to Dallas, Tollefson, tossed to
He
Dave
knew how to
Roberts.
set it up and do it. Like he just live a legend, like you said.
Yeah,
He is the Gretzky of the evening news in Philadelphia.
yeah. A couple pull quotes here. It was interesting. Gardner's been the primary anchor for Action News at 6 and 11 since May 11th, 1977. He replaced Larry Kane at the time, which I didn't realize Larry Kane worked for 6. I thought he was always an NBC guy.
Well,
Or
Larry Kane was kind of,
he was a
pretty
living legend too.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a living. Yeah.
Some of the quotes that he had here, I'll just a couple pull quotes here. It's hard to imagine I've had the opportunity to spend a professional lifetime with colleagues so committed, resourceful, and wonderful. They have taught me so much about television journalism and about myself. I am profoundly grateful, Gardner said. Spent most of my adult life at Action News. Many of our viewers have grown up and experienced life along with me and the on-air team I've worked side by side with. I mean, it's going to be 45 years. That's going to be an emotional day when he walks away.
Agreed.
But yeah, 73 years old. And, it's amazing.
Good on you.
He's been an institution, Philly institution,
Yeah.
much like Harry Callis was, much like Merrill was, Gene Hart, all
Big
these
Daddy.
guys.
Big
Yeah.
Daddy, Angelo Cataldi.
Daddy, Angelo,
Yeah. Even though
Mark
we don't like
Zumoff.
Angelo. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Zumoff, another guy. I mean, everybody. Sonny Hill. I mean, Philly, for some reason, I don't know what it is about the city, but it attracts the best in terms of announcers. The best ever.
I need to say this right now, and it's not to be rude to the person that is doing it because I think she's doing a phenomenal job. But I'm really pissed at the Sixers audio because you're dumbing down
Katie.
my man on color.
Oh, Allah. Yeah.
Because of whatever you're thinking, you need to rethink your game there because you're killing one of the best just to fit a voice in that might not be Mark Zumoff. They need to learn something there. I'm just going to leave it at that. That is my biggest frustration in life with Philly sports.
Yeah.
You're doing something audio that is killing.
That's going to be.
He's going to be the next living legend. He's the next Steve Coates. He's the next. Yeah, he's the next.
Yeah.
You're killing him right now because you can't get your audio right.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard because it's like you're coming off of that beautiful, and it's always so difficult whenever you have somebody that's been in the business, and especially in the Philly sports industry or in the Philly news industry for 30, 40 years to replace that. I feel the same thing with McCarthy, Tom McCarthy, and coming off of Harry Callis. I'm not a big fan of Tom McCarthy.
But he grows on you after a while.
He does eventually. Yeah, it's like a kind of a nail in the head. He's not
what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I agree. Like especially being the Callis, he's not what you want to hear. But Tom does a good job. Tom does a good job in football also. Like
yeah. But I mean, Merrill is going to be the next guy.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you want to talk about trying to walk in because when Merrill's gone, Lurie is going to pick his guy that's going to be in the in that broadcast booth.
Well, Lurie's been trying to get rid of anything that is like that's the one thing. I don't like Jeffrey. I've met Jeffrey Lurie. I like Jeffrey Lurie as a person, but I don't like Jeffrey Lurie as a businessman.
As a business guy, yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So we wanted to give a big time shout out to Jim Gardner. Congratulate him on his going to be 45 years.
Yo, Jim, stop making me feel old. What the hell,
man? Seriously.
What the hell?
It's like good.
That's my entire childhood, sitting in front of the big ass wooden TV.
Yeah, I know, man. I feel you. I feel you. They're 100. It's like good grief.
I care when he threw it to sports. That's what I was there for.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Congratulations to him. What a hell of a
career.
It's so funny because I've been asked recently about this podcast and like what drives me to do this, and like this is by people like friends of mine, and they don't understand what it is about it. It's like I've been around that my whole life.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the story on TV like them.
Yeah, exactly. And give your opinion on it.
Yeah, and hopefully be halfly relevant or at least funny. Who knows? I don't know.
You make me pop every once in a while.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So there you go.
Yep. Always bet on black. It'll happen.
Exactly. So that wraps it up, Johnny.
Let's do this bullshit that makes editing terrible for Matt.
Episode 58 of Two Noobs. As always, brother, it's great to be able to sit down and chat with you about all kinds of stuff, as we
I
always
hope
do.
you like the Flyers overlay.
Yeah, exactly. We've been kind of switching it up here over the last few episodes. We hope you all like it.
We got more. We don't know what's coming next, but we will have something.
Gotta do a Philly Union one. You know, we gotta do that.
Probably something like that. We'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
With a little grass. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I think.
But yeah, let's hit them up on our socials as we always do, John. Where could people find our wonderful episodes?
See, I'm going to start at Facebook because I had to burp a little bit.
There
So there's Zuckerfuck's thing that he does apparently. Adam sent me a great picture of Zuckerberg. It was a meme. Zuckerberg was at maybe we'll throw it up on the screen. Zuckerberg's at that barber and he's like, "Put what's on my mind," and they drew a penis on the back of his head. That's how I feel about Zuckerberg.
Oh my gosh.
He sucks at everything.
Yeah.
But if you could load shit up onto his website timely, which you can, you will find a video or two of Two Noobs talking, maybe our new logo, up there somewhere. We also have Instagram, which is awesome. Instagram Reels and Instagram. Thanks for the love and support there, because we're getting followers, we're getting stuff there. I like it. And we're also on TikTok, which got a lot of love. Shout out to Drew Does the News. I'm gonna tag you in this one right here so you can follow us, and I like you. You're awesome. We're gonna have you on the show eventually.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, and of course that all those videos then point us to our main YouTube channel, the Two Noobs Talking Podcast. We'd love it if you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, of course. Helps us get the word out faster. And then, of course, on the audio side, we're proudly supported by Podbean. But that gets us out to where, Johnny?
It gets us out to Apple, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. We are Googleable, like Steve likes to hear me say all the time. We're also on Spotify, but that blows. So we don't talk about that. It's terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. Like, signing up for it sucks. Like, I don't even know how you get to having it.
Maybe I'll just have to check it out on the PlayStation when I get a chance.
It sucks so bad. The logo's so bad. Like, the logo sucks so bad. I don't even know how they're a company. They have the worst logo, the worst signage, and then they put you on, and then you can't even do half the stuff that they tell you can do. They're so bad. Spotify just sucks.
Let's just take this and throw it in the trash over here.
What are you thinking, Spotify?
Exactly. And then our show notes can be found at twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. Rumor has it is, though, that we just might be changing our address.
Yes.
So watch out for that. We'll have to take a look at that.
We're at twonoobstalking.wordpress.com, but we will give you an update when we figure it out.
We'll give you a heads up on that. Yeah, but for now, twonoobstalking.wordpress.com is where you can find us. So, John, that's it, man. 58 is in the can.
Again.
On to 59. Yeah. Before I make dinner, do you have anything final to say before we get the heck out of here?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do the Let's Go Brandon thing, but
no,
I don't want to. So let's just move on to 59.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go that way.
Sounds good. Talk to you all next week, guys. Take care.
What do you make of all the fake news that is back?
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
What do you do?
That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information?